This is the number one marketing hack for every CPA, enrolled agent, wealth management firm, tax professional who is trying to get tax planning customers. So recently I had an opportunity to work with a lot of tax firms, over 50,000 people I have seen come through our network, through the lead generation that we've done. We've worked with hundreds of tax firms, CPAs, EAs, you name it, tax firms, wealth management, RIAs, assets under management. And one of the things that I saw that came across the board every single time is a very simple marketing hack, okay? And it might pass you by, you might miss it if you don't pay attention. So this is exactly what I had told one of our tax preparation advisors, and I said, hey, so what's stopping you from just going out there and saying, I can help people save money on taxes? And he said, nothing. I said, okay, so do that. And he went and just literally put a sign in front of his office and he said, we help people save money on taxes. And what happened was people would drive by in his office, and although he was doing tax preparation, people just came in and they now saw the new sign that came out there. So they perceived him a different way, and he generated an additional $35,000 from a $500 sign that was on the yard. Another scenario, we had a tax advisor from California. Okay, her name was Sarah. She came through. She was a tax professional. She had all these things on her wall, all the services that she provided. She provided tax prep, bookkeeping, accounting, you name it, she did it. And I said, well, people perceive you as a tax professional. And if they perceive you a certain way, they're going to pay you a certain way. And so I said, you have to change the perception by which people see you so they can pay you differently. And so what she did was she took off the title that said tax professional, and instead she changed it to tax advisor. And what had happened, which was pretty crazy, is that a client walked into her office that was paying her $5,000 a year for bookkeeping. And all of a sudden, the client came in and asked, what's this tax advisor thing that you have on your wall? Well, this girl started telling her about tax planning and tax advisory and what that looked like. And the client ended up paying $38,000 for 6 months and, every 6 months. So it came out to about $70,000 or thereabouts. $70,000 or so for that client that she was already getting paid for. She just wasn't getting paid for tax advisory. I'll give you another actual real scenario in my life. So I went to go get LASIK about 4 years ago now. And when I went to go get LASIK, I remember sitting there and I was terrified, petrified, because I was about to get a laser in my eye. And I said, oh my gosh, someone's going to, they're about to, laser my eye. So I asked the guy that was sitting there, and who was going to actually do the LASIK. He was asking me questions, and I asked him, well, how many times have you done this? He said, well, I've done it about 40,000 times. So I started doing the math in my head. I was paying $5,000 for LASIK, so about $150 million he had generated. And so I'm like, oh wow, he's made some money. And so he did what every person in your world, in every single conversation with a new person, every single conversation comes up and they ask, what is it that you do? And I simply said, now I do a lot of different things, but I wanted to test this theory as far as the one marketing hook hack that you can do right now as a tax professional to reshift how people see you and perceive you. I said, well, I help high income earners just like you save money on taxes so they can invest in real estate. And he was drawing on his little board just like this, looking down like this. And he looks up at me and he goes, what did you just say? And I said, I help wealthy individuals save money on taxes so they can invest more in real estate. And he says, I've never done this before. Now remember, he'd just done this about 40,000 times. He says, I've never done this before with the patient, but can I have your number so we can chat more about this? Now I say that because that's the part where you can get attention. And the biggest hack I can give you is change the perception by which people see you, and it would change the way people pay you.